DreAllDay.com.
What up, everybody? In case you didn't know, this is another video from my man Jacob over at Jump Manual. He's sharing a bunch of information about vertical jump here in these videos. So you're not going to see me, you're not going to hear me, you're going to see him and hear him. Check it out. Work on your game.
Okay, let me first of all congratulate you again for being an athlete who is taking action, getting educated, and putting the techniques to work. So stop what you're doing, put down your Facebook, put away your YouTube, whatever you're doing, clear some space and pay attention. I've saved some of the best stuff in here for last, so stay focused and let's get through it. A few quick items. If you're going to train, you got to lace up your shoes tight. That might seem silly, but if your shoes are not on tight, your force application into the ground is actually being compromised. 2, you need to warm up your body. That means your body temperature needs to raise so your muscles are more elastic and your body is getting more oxygen to it. You will perform much better by first raising your body temperature. You also need to awaken your central nervous system. This is done by using quick ground contacts like jump roping and that kind of thing. So these 3 little things will give you better elasticity, improved power transfer, increased dilation and blood flow, and a stronger neural drive. They're going to allow you to train better and perform better every time, so make sure you do them. Here are a few suggested warm-ups. High knees, kick butts, karaoke, front leg swings. You can go through these. You can go back to this video and pause this and check these out. I'm not going to go through a video of each one, so you can just Google them if you need to find them for now. So, you're probably sitting like the guy on the left right now. That means your hips are what we call closed. You need to be able to have them open up like you see Vince Carter doing here. So when you sit around, your hip flexors get shortened and it creates resistance to opening them up while you're jumping. So I call this greasing the wheel or facilitating what trainers call triple extension. That's when you extend at your hips, your knees, and your ankles. So this is a psoas stretch that you can do to help loosen up your hips so that they open up quicker and with less resistance. So check this one out. Again, you can come back to this and pause this at another time. So when you jump, you also want to have full plantar flexion. So notice the guy on the left, how his ankle is not fully extended. That means he's not applying all the force he can into the ground, as opposed to the person on the right who has their ankles fully extended. So here's a little stretch you can do to increase the range of motion in your plantar flexion. You're basically sitting on your legs and leaning back into it, and you'll feel a stretch through your shins, which is your anterior tibialis muscle. Okay, let's talk about facilitating reach. Your lats are basically what pull down your arms and your shoulders. So when you can stretch out your lats, you'll actually increase your reach by about 1 to 3 inches, probably more around 1 to 2 inches. And so get a good lat stretch going on, and you'll actually increase your standing reach. So your traps, your trapezius muscles also lift your shoulder girdle. And so get the feel for using your traps to raise up your shoulder girdle and get more additional reach out of your standing reach. An athlete who does this very well is Dwayne Wade. If you watch him dunk, I mean, the guy's only 6'4". He's got long arms, and he knows how to really stretch and raise his shoulder girdle up to get the maximum reach. So let's talk about visualization a little bit. See, visualization literally primes your neural patterns. It's how children learn to move. It's how you learn many movements. Scientists call this the mirror neurons, and they make us able to feel and do what we see in our visual cortex. It's also referred to in sport as the mind-to-muscle connection. So basically, your visual cortex is connected to physical movement. It's inbuilt. It's part of who we are, and you need to learn how to use it to your advantage. And many studies have shown that proper visualization will help you take advantage of this. It's not magic or hocus pocus. So seriously, right now, close your eyes. Close your eyes, and I want you to imagine yourself at your local court or at the local playground where you play basketball. What does it sound like? What does it smell like? Who's watching you? How do you feel? You see yourself approach the hoop or the rim. You've seen this or done this 100 times. But this time, you just feel light on your feet. You feel explosive. You feel strong. When you approach the rim to jump, you feel yourself explode like you haven't done before. You just pop right off the ground, and you get higher than you've ever gotten before. And you notice the people around you are kind of, their jaw just kind of drops a little bit, and they whisper to each other, and you hear a little gasp, and they're saying, dang, that person's really jumping high. So I want you to really see yourself, feel yourself go through these motions. You need to do this frequently. You may imagine yourself failing sometimes, but guys, you've got to get in the habit of seeing yourself succeed and understand that actually helps your body succeed physically. Technique just matters. If you ask a professional high jumper or long jumper, they know that when they improve their technique, they get a mechanical advantage and they actually perform better. They get better and more efficient transfer of momentum, better CNS performance, central nervous system. It's kind of like a baseball. I hate to pick on Obama here, but if you took a baseball and threw it with your left hand, your weak hand, you wouldn't be able to throw it very far. And it's not because it's not strong. It's because your technique is horrible, because you're throwing like a sissy. So, improving your technique is going to help. Let me show you a technique you can use for your jumping that can get you jumping higher immediately. We call it the penultimate step. So typically for high jumpers and long jumpers, this is something they know exactly how to do. They know exactly how many steps they're going to take. They know exactly how to put this into place. But basketball players, you've got to learn how to feel it, because you have many different ways you approach the rim, many different ways you jump. So visualize this. Look at how the second to last step is longer, and then the green line shows how short the last step is. Okay, here's someone who knows, who's using it a little more properly. Look at that second to last step. That is a long step. And look at the last step is even shorter. So what does this do? That long step will drop your center of gravity, and the short step will kind of pop you up in the air and jumpstart upward inertia. Don't overdo this, because if you overdo it, you'll go too low. And some athletes do this intuitively, like LeBron James and Michael Jordan. You'll see that they're doing this intuitively. See how that long stride drops the hips up, and the short stride pops them up, giving them some additional jump. Here's one of LeBron James doing it. Second to last step, long, green, a little bit shorter. So how do you practice doing this? First thing you do is set up cones. You accelerate into the cones and then measure your jumps so you know what your ideal lengths are. So first do it without the ball, and then you can add the ball. Make sure that you plant with your feet directly underneath you, and you'll see and feel the rhythm of a long step and then a very quick short step. And this is best to do one-on-one work with. This isn't something, if you're a coach here, you wouldn't want to do this with your whole team at one time. So here's how you'd set up your cones. A long step and then a short step. If you're doing this with two legs, you're going to do a long step and then plant with two legs. Again, don't reach. When you reach, notice how when you extend at your knee, you're basically pressing back into yourself. You want to plant directly underneath you so that you're propelling yourself directly upwards. You don't want to jar by reaching out. Okay, let's talk about arm swing for a little bit. You can actually gain a couple inches from improving your arm swing, at least. So there's some techniques you can do to get better arm swing. Increased range of motion, med ball throws, repetition. Let's talk about getting a good range of motion. Look in this photo how my arms are back and high. I'm able to get a full range of motion and use my arms to pop myself up. And the picture on the right, That's a poor range of motion. You'll see a lot of jumpers, they'll start with their arms in this position. That's a poor range of motion. So you can increase your range of motion by using a stretch like this one. So you basically, you can get up and do this right now actually. So you want to put your arms up behind you and kind of sit down into it and feel the stretch through your shoulders, increasing the range of motion that you can get in your arms. You could also do arm swings, going from front to back, so like this. Basically getting that full range of motion and practicing getting into it. So you can also do momentum swings. So now you're taking that full range of motion and using it to pop yourself up. Let me show you. You're basically making your arms lift yourself off the ground. So the keys to using arm swing are a full range of motion, getting lots of power and velocity into your swing, and the timing. You need to start swinging your arms prior to planting for your jump, because if not, you'll be swinging your arms too late. Then you got med ball throws. Medicine ball throws are a great way to work on a powerful arm swing. Okay, I'm going to introduce a new idea here for you. It's called post-activation potentiation. Basically, it works like this. If you're using lightweight or doing something with very lightweight, very few fibers will be activated. If you do heavyweight, a lot of fibers are activated in order to move that weight. However, the trick here is that if you use a heavy weight, any exercise with a heavy weight, you'll be activating a lot of fibers, but those fibers will stay activated for the next movements. So you can do a heavy movement and then do a lighter movement, but you'll get increased muscle activation because of the heavy movement you did previously. So you can use post-activation potentiation in your training. You can do something like a squat, heavy squat, or a single leg squat, or a med ball exercise, followed up by a sport-specific non-weighted movement. And now you'll not only actually get more muscle activation, you'll start to develop new neural patterns from that. So, let's talk a little bit about planting and jumping versus bouncing. And this is a really important concept. It's something I call pre-ground contact acceleration. So what you want to do is begin extending and generating velocity prior to touching the ground. So you actually begin your movement and then power the velocity through the ground. And an exercise you can use to practice this is what I call power bouncing. So you want to get up on a ledge just a few inches because that's about how high you are when you start your jump. And you're going to bounce off the ground. As soon as you jump off the box, you're going to be powering all your velocity into the ground and bouncing back off the ground. I call this power bouncing. Okay, so let's talk about your pathway to getting to a 40-inch vertical. I've gotten myself to a 40-inch vertical multiple times and continue to maintain that. I've helped a lot of other athletes do it. So let's talk about the big three. Strength. Before you can move quickly, you've got to be able to overcome the resistance of your own body. If you don't have strength to start with, you're going to be going to be very difficult for you to reach a high level of explosiveness. So quickness is how fast you move. So quickness means how fast you use that strength. And the third of the big three is technique. And that's coordinating the movement and properly using your strength and quickness to propel yourself through the air. So strength. You need to know which muscles to train. The prime movers, I call them. So you need to know how to train them to maximize your strength gains rather than training some other aspect of that muscle. You need to know how to convert that strength into quickness and how to train fast twitch and not slow twitch strength. For quickness, you need to know how to systematically increase the muscle activation. So now you're building strength, but you need to systematically increase how quickly you can use that strength. And we use a method that's called Russian shock training. And we use also mixed conjugate method for maximum results. It sounds complicated, but actually once you understand it, it's pretty easy to use. So I put together something special for what I call serious athletes. And when I say that, I mean people who are taking this seriously. Believe it or not everyone is a serious athlete. A lot of people are going to take information and tools you give them, and they're not going to do anything with it. And I can tell from the exchanges that I've had with many of you and little conversations we've had on the side that a lot of you are taking this seriously, and I commend you for that. And I have something special for you. I love working with motivated, serious athletes who are ready to take training and their motivation and put it together and create something special out of themselves. So what we have is our latest jump manual edition. We have added the best strength exercise for jumping ever created. We've done this with our research tools. It is simply the best exercise to get the fastest results for quickness and explosive jumping power. We have a brand new format. It's very easy to follow, HD videos, and it's basically a step-by-step path for you to get your vertical to 40 inches and be the most explosive athlete you can be on the court. And we've also included the complete diet program, which is an essential part of getting the best possible results. We've also are going to include free updates for life for anyone who is going to use our system. So you get our system. We're always improving it. We always get your feedback. We're very in touch with athletes that we work with. And when we improve it, you get those improvements. You won't have to pay any additional fee ever for that. You get those free updates. I'm also going to throw in something that I think is extremely important, because injury is really your worst enemy as an athlete. I've worked with so many amazing athletes who are not able to perform at their best level because they have knee problems or elbow problems or ankle problems. And for most of these issues, there are some simple tips and techniques that people just don't know. See, tendons, guys, are different than muscles. You have to train and repair them differently than you do muscles. So we've created a program called Bulletproof Your Game. It's a series of videos that will help you basically get your body so you can play healthy year-round, so you can feel your best when you're playing. Cures for jumper's knee, cures for your elbow, ankle, groin, step-by-step videos. They're simple to do. They're very simple, small programs that will help you cure your injuries and also prevent future injuries. This is a deal that I'm going to give exclusively to those of you who are watching this video. If you've dropped off on the other videos, it's not going to be available. So this offer is for you. And this offer is only going to be limited time. So tomorrow, 12 noon, Eastern Standard Time, we're going to open this up, and we're going to keep it open for 4 days. And other than that, guys, get after it. Take the information you've learned, put it to work. Make sure that if you have questions or there's something you're not understanding, that you get it answered, so that there's no excuses, there's no roadblocks keeping you from making the progress you need to make. And so I will talk to you guys very soon.